Very good morning, everyone. So today's agenda is we will do first 25 or 30 minutes this some discussion around graph theory. Especially, we will talk about matching, and then you'll have a quiz around 9:30, 9:35, and that quiz will have like around 15 questions, I guess, and but some questions are true false. So you will have again around 20 minutes for solving those problems. Okay, so 15 questions, 20 minutes roughly. So let's get started. So today basically what we are going to see just index. We will recap our discussion on graph coloring, and then we will see graph matching. And covers. Okay. So last time we have seen a graph coloring algorithm, which is a greedy algorithm. The algorithm is graph coloring. Works as follows. It first so you have a set of colors to color, right? So you have a set of colors given to you, and then what you want to do is using those colors you want to color a graph in with following property. The property is the adjacent node of the graph should have different color, right? So to make sure this problem is actually an NP-hard problem, so which is like there is no global solution or exact solution exist in a polynomial time, but the approximate solution, and which is often very good, is can be obtained by a greedy algorithm, which works as follows. So what it does is, let's maybe take another example to just understand the greedy algorithm. Let's say I have this graph. Okay, so this is my graph. The greedy algorithm will have some set of colors, right? So it will have red, green, blue, yellow, and so on. We need to pick one of the color from this set. So a greedy algorithm works as follows. You start with any node, right? So any node I can start. Let me start with let's say this node, and use the first color which is unused. So in this case, the first color which is unused is red. So I can use red. Next, I use I again take another vertex again randomly from the remaining n-1, and I can use any of these colors. So let's say I choose this, then I need to see whether the neighbors are colored or not. So for this case, there is no neighbors colored, right? So none of the neighbors are colored. And therefore, I have to use the first available color, which is in this case red. Next, I again choose a node in random, right? So maybe let's say I choose this one, and then I will see whether the neighbors are colored. If neighbors are colored, whatever is colored, I will not use that color, but I will use the next available color, right? For example, in this case, red is already used by one of the neighbor, right? This one, and you can see that, so this one. This is the neighbor which is already using red. So I cannot use red. So next available color for me is green. So I need to use green. Let me use green here. Okay. Next, let's say I choose next this vertex to color. Right. In this case, both red and green are already used. So that therefore I cannot use red and green, but I can use blue, So for me, let's say this is blue. So this is blue, right? So red, green, blue are used. Now I choose this particular vertex to color. So red is already used, right? Red is already used by its neighbor. What color I can use for coloring this? Green. I can use green for coloring this. And now I have only one node left, so that I need to traverse. So this one. And now since red and green both are used, I need to use blue. Okay, so with three colors, we have colored this graph, and I don't think we can do it with two, right? Can we do it with two? I don't think so. So this case, it is giving a correct solution, which is three, and three is also called the chromatic number. Chromatic number, which is three. And in most of the cases, this greedy algorithm works, but it does not work always. Let's take an example where it does not work. So for example, like this. So let's say my graph is very simple. Four nodes are there, and I have to use red, green, blue to color this. Question, how many colors is required to color this graph? Very fast, you can tell. Two. Right, but a greedy algorithm, if you choose the row nodes randomly and choose it wrongly, it can give you three, right, which is not the correct one, but two is the correct answer. So if I choose like greedy algorithm, right, so greedy algorithm first choose any of these node and color it. So I choose this node, and I use red color. Okay. I used it. Next, let's say I choose, because the algorithms does not say any order, does not tell any order of choosing the node, right? So I can choose this node, the last one. Now, what is the available color? First available color, red. I can use red for this, right? Now if I choose this one, then since red is already used, I need to use green. So green will be used, right? Now for this one, red and green both are used, right? So red is used as well as green is used. So then I have to use it next blue. Third color. So here the graph coloring algorithm, greedy algorithm can give wrong solution, which is 3 in this case, because you can actually, you could have used red, then green, then red, then green. But the order in which you choose these nodes in the greedy algorithm can make a difference, and therefore sometime it may not be possible to get the exact solution using this greedy algorithm. But for the most of the cases, it is quite good, and it is nearly nearly it is always at least near to the exact solution or the minimum solution. Okay. So this is the problem with the greedy algorithm. But since we've already said that this problem is not is actually NP-hard problem. So finding the global solution or the exact solution is not possible in a polynomial time. But this greedy algorithm, as you can see, is a polynomial time algorithm, right? So you can actually do it in polynomial time. Anyway, so this is just for the discussion for the graph coloring part. So today we are going to discuss some more about graph matching. Any question on graph coloring before we move? Okay. Matching. Even for complex graph, you can that's what, right? So even if you have a very large graph, you can use the greedy algorithm, right? So if you have, even if you, and it can give you a very good solution, right? But it may not give the your exact solution. But for exact solution, you will need to do the brute force, right? Every node you go and see, and but that's not a polynomial time perhaps. Anyway, so now even for complex graph, you can really try this greedy algorithm, and it will be giving a good approximate solution at least. Now, matching, graph matching. So we all use some kind of a matching, right? Uh, in many of our real life applications. Examples could be like matching in the matrimony sites, right? So like for the wedding. So your boys, so there is a set of boys and set of girls, and you do matching, right? So the other examples could be like matching in maybe forming some kind of a two-member group, right? So if you have a course project and if you want to perform a two-member group, then maybe there can be matching. Matching can also happen when you have a set of let's say jobs and set of people to do that job, right? So then in that case also matching can happen. So matching has a lot of applications, uh, in real world, and therefore the graph matching is important topic to know, right? So what is a matching more formally? Let's look into the definition, right? So matching M, right? M in a graph, in a graph G is a set of non-loop non-loop edges. Why non-loop? Because matching is usually done between two nodes, not the same node, no? So therefore non-loops edges with no shared endpoints, with no shared endpoints. All right. So what does it mean? So it's something like this. So we were seeing this, if you look into the same examples we were talking, let's say you have a set of boys and set of girls, and let's call B1, B2, B3, and B4, right? And let's say G1, G2, G3. Okay, girls are less, let's say. So more typical IIT scenario perhaps, which is changing, which is good. So now you have boys and girls, and there is, let's say, we want to have a matching, right? So if you have a, what is a matching? So the thing is like, let's say this boy B1 likes G1 and G2, B2 likes G1 and G3, B3 also likes G1 and G3, and B4 like G2, right? So this edges are based on liking. So this is not a matching, this is a graph, right? So this is a graph G. A matching will be like, will always have a unique pairs of matching, right? So the matching, maybe I can, let me use some other color, let's say maybe use green color, right? So green color matching, so the one of the matching could be, let's say this one, right? So B1 to G1, then B2 to G3, and you cannot use B3 to G1 because G1 and B1 have already matched. So B3 cannot be matched with G1. B3 cannot be matched with G3, right? So B3 has to remain single. There is no way. But B4 can be matched to G2, right? So here what we have matched is matching M will be a set of edges which is B1 G1, right, and then B2 G3, B2 G3, and B4 G2. All right. So this is one particular match, right? So it's not like this is the unique only match possible in this graph. There can be more matches, but this is one particular match, right? B1 G1, B2 G3, B4 G4 G2. You can also find many different other matches, like B1 can be tied to G2, so B1 G2 can happen, right? And then B2 can tie to G1, so B2 G1 can happen, and so on and so forth. So there can be multiple matches. So this is one of the matches. So matching M. Now look into the definition in a graph G. This is a graph G. Graph G is a set of non-loop edges with no shared endpoints, right? So this none of these have shared endpoints, and the like intuitive way to understand that, like one boy is like tied with one girl, right? So it's not otherwise when you do matching. Okay, so this is a graph. This is called matching, and what is a perfect matching? So let's look into that. Perfect matching. Right, so perfect matching is a scenario where all the nodes are matched to some other node. A matching is called perfect matching if all the nodes in graph G are matched to some other node. All the graphs, all the nodes are matched to some other node, means everything is matched, right? For example, in the previous example, perfect matching cannot happen because you know that only 4 boys are there and 3 girls are there. So perfect matching cannot happen because at least one will be unmatched. But there can be a scenario where perfect matching can happen, right? For example, if I take a graph, very simple graph like this, one can find perfect matching here. Let me call A, B, C, and D. So this is a graph, right? In this graph, I can have a perfect matching. What can be the perfect matching? Anyone? What will be the perfect matching in this graph? AD, BC. Yeah. So one of them is AD, BC. Even let's call it M1. M2 is, let's say, AB, CD, right? Both of them, ABCD and ADBC, is perfect matching, right? Right. So this is called a perfect matching, and let's look into there is some interesting concept called cover, vertex cover. So vertex cover. So vertex cover is also somewhat related to matching, but we will see what the relation from matching is. But before that, let's define it. So vertex cover, also known as VC, or VC, vertex cover of graph G, is a set, usually denoted by Q, right? Because Q is P is already reserved. Is a subset of vertices, right? Is a subset of vertices that contains at least one endpoint of every edge. every edge. Vertex cover of a graph G is a set Q subset of VG that contains at least one endpoint of every edge, right? And the vertex, when then we say that vertex, the vertices in Q cover E of G, right? So vertex cover, let's take an example. Let's say my graph is this. Let me call it G1, and let me draw another graph, G2. Okay, so these are the two graphs I have, and I will find the vertex cover in each of them. So G1, what will be the vertex cover? This the vertex cover is like is a subset of a vertex, like that contains at least one endpoint of every edge. So obviously, most trivial way is like if you include all the vertices, right? So vertex cover can be all the vertices, but obviously that's not what we are interested in. What we are interested in is finding minimum number of vertex which can cover all the edges. So in this case, I can draw it. Maybe let me use red color. So this vertex and this vertex, if I choose, these two vertex actually cover all the edges, right? You can see that. This covers this edge, this edge, this edge, then this one covers this edge and this edge. All the edges are covered by these two vertices. So therefore, the minimum size vertex cover of G1 is these two nodes which are drawn in a red rectangle, right? Of course, maximum size can be all the nodes, right? If you use all the nodes, obviously all the edges will be covered. But this is the minimum. Question, what is the minimum size vertex cover in G2? 3. Okay. Yeah. So if I choose, let's say this one, then this edge is covered, this edge is covered. If I choose, then I have to cover these two edges. I have to choose this one, which will cover this edge and this edge, right? I still have one edge remaining, so therefore I have to choose this one, maybe either of these, and this is everything is covered now. With these three nodes, everything is covered, right? So sometimes some book also give an example of like to understand this concept is like this consider this node these edges as a street, right? And you want to and these nodes as a like points where there is a street light. If you want to lighten all the streets with minimum number of street lights on, this is the possibility, right? So if you just on this light and this light, you can actually make all the streets, if you consider all the edges as streets, all the streets are on, right? All the streets will have light. So that is a way to understand where this is what the vertex cover is. And now you can see the vertex cover. Can you see the relationship between matching and vertex cover? Anything you can say? So the question is matching. Sorry. So let's use black matching and VC, right? So what is the relationship between the size of M and size of Q? Which one is usually greater or smaller? Anything can you say? Okay, let's look into matching first. In these examples, what will be the matching? Minimum, I mean to say maximum size matching. In G1, let's draw it. Okay, let me draw it again. So you have G1. G1. This in this graph, yeah, maximum size matching is 2. So why cannot have you? Why can't you have three? You cannot have three because if you choose any of these, no. So let's say I choose. Let's use the green color again. So let's say I choose this one. If I choose this one, then I cannot choose any of them, right? So this is one, size one. But at max, what I can do is at max I can do is two. So that is I choose this one and this one, right? I cannot have three. So the matching size for this particular example is two, and the this size the vertex cover, minimum vertex cover, right? So this is mean and this is max. Maximum matching is 2, minimum vertex cover is also 2. Okay. In the other example, in G2 example, what was now can you draw some? Right. So this was our G2 example. In G2 example, we said that minimum Q is 3. What is the maximum matching possible? What is max M for this graph? Can you have 3 matching? Can you have 3 matching? No. You will have 2 matching maximum, right? So that can be like maybe this if you match. Let's use the green again. To this you match. And this you match. You will never have 3 matching in this graph, right? So 3 matching cannot be possible, and therefore actually the relationship between these two guys, the M and Q, is actually this. This we are not proving, but then there is a theorem which does that, and that's not beyond this scope of this particular course because that's more covered in the graph theory course. But the matching is number of matching, the maximum size of matching is always either less than or equal to minimum size of vertex cover, right? And that you can intuitively also see because the vertex cover is those number of nodes which are covering the edges, right? So if you see that can be at max this, right? So this is just for knowing this concept. Matching and vertex cover has this relationship, and this is true for any graph, right? Okay. So with that, I don't know how much time. Yeah. So with that, we will stop and we will break for 2-3 minutes, and then we will have a quiz. Any question on whatever covered today? So next week, we are going to start a very interesting concept, and which is I would recommend you guys to attend the classes, which is theory of computations, right? So this is something which is uh, one of the most exciting thing to know in computer science. So I definitely recommend you guys to attend the lectures and not just listen to the recording, or I don't see even people listening to recording, but you should definitely attend. So this we will do next week. And now we will break for 2 minutes and we will have a quiz. I will share the quiz link with you guys in a couple of minutes, and the quiz has around 15 questions and we will do it for 20 minutes. Okay, so we'll sharply end the quiz at 9:50 or 9:51. Sure, we will definitely have some discussion on practical applications. Okay. Timer for the per question is not a matter. Okay, so I think it will not show up today. So timer is has been disabled, but even if it shows up by some bug in the quizzes, don't really worry about timers, but the total time is 20 minutes. Okay. All right, so I'm sharing the screen, and you will be able to see the quiz code. So here we go, joinmyquiz.com, and the quiz code is there.